I never thought I'd be the guy writing something like this, but here I am. My name's Mike, and I was married to Lisa for almost 3 years. Up until recently, I really believed we had a solid relationship. Sure, we had our disagreements, but nothing that seemed like a big deal. At least, that's what I told myself. We were planning our wedding, everything seemed perfect on the surface. She was ambitious, a little bitchy sometimes, but that's just how she was. She liked to keep control, be in charge, tell everyone she was the boss. And honestly, I liked that about her most of the time. But then came the signs that something was off. Little things at first, like her phone ringing late at night when she thought I wasn't paying attention, then the weird excuses about work dinners that kept piling up. She tell me she was working late at the office, that she had to finish this project or that report. I believed her at first. I wanted to believe her. She'd even get snippy and accuse me of not trusting her, saying I was paranoid or insecure. She'd roll her eyes and call me jealous, which I hated but was starting to realize maybe I wasn't entirely wrong. The real turning point was about 2 weeks ago. I was supposed to meet her for dinner after work, but she texted me saying she got caught up with a late meeting and would be home late. No big deal, right? Except I noticed her phone was oddly silent all evening, no messages from me or anyone else. Then around midnight I decided to check her phone, nothing suspicious at first, just work emails and some texts from her boss, a guy named Mark. Innocent enough, but I kept feeling that gnawing suspicion. I went to bed, but I couldn't shake the feeling. I checked her email the next morning, and that's when I saw it. There was an email from Mark, nothing overtly inappropriate, just some work stuff. But then I looked at her sent folder. She had sent him a good night message, and there was a reply that I didn't recognize right away. I opened the reply and my heart just stopped. It was a text from her, an explicit message about wanting to see him, about finishing what they started, and how much she was looking forward to being with him again. I couldn't believe it. My wife, the woman I trusted, was sneaking around behind my back with her boss. It wasn't just kisses or stolen moments. She was actually cheating on me. That moment hit me hard. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. I've never felt so betrayed in my life. I was angry, confused, and completely devastated all at once. How could she lie for months about staying late at the office, only to be with her boss? I felt like I'd been played. The woman I was about to marry, the woman I thought I knew better than anyone, had been hiding something that ugly. And the worst part, I was supposed to be getting married in less than a week. I didn't know how I was going to face her after this or what I was supposed to do next. The trust was shattered and my mind was racing with questions and rage. I couldn't just sit there staring at her messages, feeling like my world was crumbling. I had to do something. I started thinking about how to catch her in the act if she was sneaking around, but honestly I didn't need to. The evidence was right there. Her texts, her lies about working late, and the fact that she had been so defensive every time I asked about her whereabouts. She always had some excuse. She was busy, working late, or dealing with a crisis at the office. I bought her lies for a while. Hell, I wanted to believe her. But now I saw the truth glaring back at me plain as day. I decided I needed to confront her. I waited until she came home that evening, feeling like I was walking on glass. When she finally walked in the door, all smiles and that bitchy attitude she always had, I just looked at her. I didn't say a word at first. I wanted her to feel the weight of what I knew. Her eyes flicked to mine and she immediately got defensive, her tone sharp, trying to brush things off. "Hey babe, what's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost." I stared her down, clutching her phone in my hand. "I know everything," I said coldly. Her face froze, then her mask of confidence cracked just a little. She tried to deny it, told me I was crazy, that I'd misunderstood, that I was just jealous or insecure. Of course she lied, typical Lisa. She's the queen of excuses, always blaming someone else, always turning things around so she's the victim. But I wasn't buying it anymore. I threw her phone on the table and watched her reaction. Her eyes widened for a second, then she sneered. "You're overreacting. It's just work. Mark's a friend, that's all. You're being paranoid." I felt like I was about to explode. I told her I had proof, that I saw her texts, and her face went from confident to furious. She started yelling at me, calling me crazy, possessive, and insecure. She said I was just jealous because I couldn't keep up with her, that she was doing nothing wrong and was only trying to stay professional. Right, professional with her boss, who she was clearly screwing behind my back. She kept telling me I was imagining things, that I was accusing her without any real proof, but I had enough. I told her I was done being played, that I was sick of her lies and that I knew she'd been lying to me for months. Her reaction, she got downright bitchy, said I was overreacting, that I was a psycho, and that I was ruining everything because I couldn't handle her success. She called me possessive and pathetic, and then she stormed off to the bedroom, leaving me standing there enraged, hurt, and feeling completely betrayed. I won't lie, I felt like I was crushed. All the trust I'd ever had in her gone, just like that. I spent the night tossing and turning, wondering what I did wrong, why I wasn't enough, and how the woman I loved could be so deceitful. The worst part is, deep down, I knew this was just the beginning of a nightmare I wasn't prepared for. I could feel it in my gut that her lying was just the tip of the iceberg, and I was right to be worried. The days that followed were a blur of anger, confusion, and a growing sense of hollow despair. I kept replaying the confrontation in my mind, replaying her sneers, her lies, her bitchy tone that somehow made everything worse. I couldn't believe I was actually living through this. Just a few days before I was getting ready for what I thought would be the best day of my life, marrying Lisa. Now everything felt like a cruel joke. Honestly, I didn't know what to do next. Part of me wanted to just cut everything off immediately, pack my bags, walk away, and forget I ever knew her. But the other part, the one that still loved her, that remembered the good times, that hoped this was all some terrible mistake, kept me from doing that right away. Instead, I started paying close attention. I needed to understand what she was up to, how deep this went. I decided I'd follow her, find out where she was sneaking off to, and gather proof of her betrayal. I wasn't going to let her manipulate me anymore. That night, I waited until she was supposed to be asleep, then quietly followed her out of the house. She slipped out like a thief. No goodbyes, no explanations, just the headlights disappearing down the street. I kept my distance, trying not to lose her. She drove to some hotel downtown, and that's when I saw her go inside alone. My stomach clenched. I parked a few streets away and watched her check in. She was wearing a tight dress, her heels clicking on the pavement, acting so confident and bitchy. I saw her slip her phone out, making a quick call. I couldn't hear what she was saying, but I knew it was about him. That bastard Mark. Over the next few days, I kept tabs. She'd leave in the mornings, come back late at night, smelling like perfume and hotel lobby air. Always with that bitchy attitude, like she was daring the world to call her out. I found out she'd been making secret trips, lying about business dinners, but I knew better. I kept digging. I got a hold of her hotel receipts and security footage. That's when I saw the truth in full detail, her sneaking into a hotel room with Mark, their bodies pressed close, her lips on his neck. It was exactly what I suspected, but seeing it with my own eyes was a gut punch I never recovered from. The worst part, she lied about everything. She told me she was working late, that she was at the office, that she was dedicated to her career. She called me paranoid every time I asked about her whereabouts, but it was all bullshit. She was screwing her boss right under my nose and lying to my face about it. That realization hit me like a freight train. I thought I knew her. I thought I knew everything about her, but it was all a lie, all of it. The next step was confronting her again, but I didn't do it right away. My mind was racing, planning what to say, how to catch her off guard. I couldn't just walk in and accuse her again. That wouldn't be enough. I needed a confession, evidence she couldn't deny. So I decided I'd wait until she was vulnerable, caught off guard, maybe even begging for forgiveness. But I also knew I had to be careful. She was manipulative. She knew how to spin things, and I didn't want her to lie her way out of this one. I was done trusting her, done doing it on her terms. By the time I had all this figured out, I felt an odd mixture of rage and heartbreak. Rage because she'd betrayed me, lied to me, and played me for a fool. Heartbreak because I realized I'd never really known her at all. I'd always thought I was the one holding everything together, but the truth was, she'd been holding me hostage with her lies. And now, I just needed to figure out what to do with what I knew. Because this wasn't just some fling. It was a full-blown affair with my wife's boss, and I knew I'd have to act if I wanted any shred of dignity left. The days after I uncovered everything felt like walking through a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. I was stuck between the urge to confront her immediately and the need to plan my next move carefully. I knew she was a bitch, haughty, manipulative, and always had a comeback ready. But I also knew she was dangerous when cornered. That's why I decided to wait. I wanted her to feel the mounting pressure, to feel like I was closing in. I kept my mouth shut and my eyes open, watching her every move, gathering every detail I could. One night, I finally had enough. I couldn't keep pretending I didn't know. I sat her down in the living room, the air thick with tension. She looked at me like I was some kind of fool, that confident smirk on her face as if she still thought she could lie her way out of it. I took a deep breath and laid it all out. Every piece of evidence, every text, every hotel receipt, every sneaky trip. Her face drained of color. She started to sputter, trying to deny it again, calling me crazy, paranoid, and possessive. But I didn't let her. I told her I knew everything: the affair, her lying about being at work, her sneaking around with Mark. I watched her try to spin the story, her bitchy attitude bubbling up again. "It's none of your business," she snapped. "You're just jealous because I don't want to be stuck with some boring guy who's too insecure to trust his wife." That kind of arrogance made me sick. She thought she could talk her way out of it like always. But I was done playing her game. I told her she could either come clean or I'd walk away right then. Her eyes flashed with anger, and she spat out that I was a control freak, that she'd only been doing what she needed to keep her career alive, and that I was just some jealous loser. I saw her trying to gaslight me, trying to make me doubt myself, like she always did. But I wasn't falling for it anymore. I looked her straight in the eyes and told her that I knew she was sleeping with her boss, that I was done with her lies, and that I'd be leaving her. Her face twisted in rage, and she screamed at me, calling me all sorts of names, trying to make me feel guilty. But in that moment, I realized something. I'd been a fool for trusting her so easily. She was manipulative, she was a bitch, and she had played me like a pawn. I decided then that I wasn't going to be her victim anymore. I told her I wanted a divorce, that I was sick of her lies, her cheating, her bitchy attitude. I packed a bag that night and I left her standing there, angry, yelling, but ultimately defeated. I didn't look back. I knew I had to get out of that toxic mess before it completely devoured me. That night I didn't sleep much. I kept replaying everything: her lies, her sneers, her betrayal. It was like a punch to the gut every time I thought about how she'd been screwing her boss behind my back. I was hurt, furious, and strangely relieved at the same time. I finally saw her for what she truly was. That woman I thought I knew. Turns out, she was just a manipulative bitch all along. The betrayal cut deep, but I also felt a strange sense of clarity. I realized I'd been giving her too much power, and now that I took it back, I could breathe again. I didn't know what the future held, but I knew I couldn't stay with her anymore. That was the moment I made a choice, to walk away from the lies and the betrayal and start over. I don't regret the decision, even if it hurts like hell right now. Sometimes, you have to lose everything to see the truth, and honestly, I'm just glad I found out before it was too late. After I left her that night, everything started to unravel even more quickly than I expected. I moved out, found a small apartment nearby, and tried to get my head straight. It was surreal. The house she called ours, the woman I loved, all turned into a distant nightmare. All I could think about was how she had lied to me for months, how she'd been sneaking around with her boss, playing me for a fool while pretending to be the perfect wife. The anger was still there, but underneath, I felt a deep sadness I couldn't shake. I kept asking myself how I missed the signs, how I didn't see her true colors sooner. She was always bitchy, yes, but I thought that was just her personality. I never thought she'd be capable of doing something so cruel. Honestly, I felt like a sucker, someone who trusted the wrong person, who believed in fairy tale love but got played instead. And the worst part, she's still out there, probably pretending everything's fine, acting like she didn't just crush me. But I wasn't going to let her win. In the following days, I started to piece everything together. I reached out to some mutual friends who confirmed what I already suspected, that she'd been hiding her affair from everyone, acting like she was devoted to me. It was a bitter pill to swallow, but I needed to know the truth. I needed to fully understand just how deep her manipulation went. And honestly, I was angry, so angry at her, at myself for trusting her, and at how she threw everything away for some fleeting affair. I also took a hard look at my own feelings. It hurt like hell, but I knew I had to let go. I couldn't keep living in the shadow of her lies. The betrayal had cut so deep, it changed everything I thought I knew about her and about myself. I started to realize that I'd been giving her too much power, that I'd been too willing to ignore the warning signs. That bitchy attitude, those little lies, the sneaking around, all of it was a warning sign I should have seen sooner. But I was blinded by love and hope. Now, I was just trying to piece myself back together. One thing I knew for sure was that I'd never trust her again, not after what she did. I don't know if she's sorry, if she even regrets it, but I don't care anymore. The woman I thought I married was gone long before I found out. She was just a manipulative, selfish bitch hiding behind a pretty face. And I was stupid enough to stay blind for a while, but no more. I finally see her for who she really is, someone who'd rather screw her boss than build a real life with me. Right now, I'm just trying to focus on myself. I've started going back to the gym, reconnecting with friends, and trying to rebuild some sense of normalcy. It's not easy. Every day feels like a roller coaster of emotions. But I know one thing, I won't let her ruin me. I'll get through this. I have to, because no matter how much it hurts, I deserve better than a cheater, a liar, and a bitchy woman who threw everything away for a night of sex with her boss. I've learned that trust can be shattered in an instant, and sometimes the only way to heal is to walk away and start over. Now, looking back, I realize that this whole nightmare has changed me. I used to believe in fairy tales, thought love was enough to conquer anything. But I've learned the hard way that some people are just not worth your trust, especially when they're willing to betray you so blatantly. That bitchy side of Lisa. Yeah, she revealed her true self when she thought she could get away with everything. Her lies, her sneaky trips, her cheating. None of it was about love or success. It was about her selfishness, her desire to have her cake and eat it too. I've come to understand that sometimes you have to lose everything to finally see what's real. I thought I was building a life with someone I could trust, but I was just fooling myself. The pain of betrayal cuts deep, but it also clears your eyes. Now I know better. I know not to ignore the warning signs, the bitchy attitude, the secretive calls, the late nights. They all meant something. And I'm not going to let her or anyone else manipulate me again. Most importantly, I've learned to value myself more. I'm not just some guy who got played. I'm someone who's going to pick himself up and keep going. I'll find someone who respects me, who truly cares, and who doesn't throw away everything for a quick fuck. Because honestly, I deserve that much. So, yeah, this was an experience I never wanted, but one I definitely needed. It's humbling, painful, but also a wake-up call. Trust is precious, and I'll never give it so freely again. I'll be cautious, I'll be smarter, and I'll never let a bitch like Lisa manipulate me into thinking I was the problem. I got out, I survived, and now I'm just trying to rebuild what I lost. Myself, my confidence, my peace of mind. Life goes on, and I know I'll be okay. Sometimes the best thing you can do is walk away from someone who doesn't value you, even if it hurts like hell in the moment. Because in the end, I'd rather be alone than with someone who cheats, lies, and treats me like I'm nothing. I've learned that lesson the hard way, and I'll carry it with me for the rest of my life.